Alright, something got Nagu update, starting off with Mountain Goat article quote. Saleh puts the international community in the picture regarding Iraq in a speech today. Iraq is now all about international. Yes, everything these days is reaching out to the international community for trade and business. We can see the reinstatement of the dinar coming clearer and clearer in the picture each day as we progress closer and closer to the end of the year. Desert Advisor says Iraq has basically been kicked out of France, their military, and our military. They've just not discovered, but they're really seeking investors now for their phosphate, which has been going on for years, meeting with multiple countries and different investment companies, whether it's their energy in different agriculture sectors, phosphate, all kinds of stuff, and their economic reform is making way as much as they're talking with the IMF, World Bank, and everything like that with the new budget. It's pretty interesting to see what's going on here. All right, Pimpy says you can see in the Iraq Central Bank on their website, it tells you how much currency was created, 55 trillion dinar. But what is not put on there is how much of it was destroyed. There was a flood, and the banks had to destroy what money? How much of it was taken by ISIS and destroyed? We don't know. I did show an article in which it stated the Iraq was taking 1.5 billion of their oil, buying back the IQD off the open market. This is great news. This is, think, supply and demand. If there truly is that much Iraq dinar out there, there's no way you could possibly do it at $3. It would bankrupt the country. This is the first time I hear this 70% of the money supply removed from the market. That makes it way more realistic that a revalue can be done at that rate. Quote, the central bank's aggressive policy spent $1 billion to $1.5 billion every month in oil revenues to buy physical IQD supply in the open market, said Moldov, a senior advisor to the bank, unquote. You remove 70% of it, brings it way down. Again, this is only what they bought and destroyed. We also know that there's something like 95% of the supplies out of the country, 5% of it is in country. I can tell you that the big portion of the existing IQD is in the hands of the banks. The average speculator has 250,000 IQD. That's the average. Right, Pimpy continued, said so if they remove 70% of the money supply plus all of them that have been damaged just through natural wear and tear, ones that were taken by ISIS, ones damaged during the flood, that means the actual amount of IQD out there is very low. Now that makes sense. It's very realistic that the IQD can indeed be revalued around $3, if not more. I'm not saying that's the rate, I'm just saying it's a more realistic rate given the fact that we know for sure that the amount of existing IQD has been reduced by at least a minimum of 70%. This is great news. All right, Frank 26, question possible exchange possibilities, consideration strategies. Frank says, remember what we told you, look at the exchange rate. Is it 1-to-1? Then ask the CBI, how long are you going to coexist the new small category notes with the 3 zeros? How long? A year? They'll coexist forever? 6 months? 3 months? Frank says, I don't have much time for the international growth, do I? I was going to cash out, or I'm sorry, question, I don't have much time for the international growth, do I? I was going to cash out about 10% in the beginning. I think I'll cash out 90%. And there's a note to, at the appropriate time, take everything you learn here to your professional financial advisor to create a plan specific to your unique circumstances. Militiaman article quote, public traffic announces tomorrow on Monday the date for opening all Baghdad streets, unquote. They will have 100% access to the streets. Wonder if that means they can access the thousands of new ATMs and be able to use millions of cards to activate a new sovereignty. The UN video described Iraq as being safe, stable, and sovereign meeting place. Let's see what happens by opening up 100% of all streets in Baghdad. And lastly, Bob the Taxman says, keeping your taxes as low as possible saves you money. I've been singing this song for how long now? Taxes is the biggest hole in your financial ship. This is the thing we have to watch for when we do our investing. Taxes are always going to be the biggest hole in your plans. There's a way to reduce those taxes, but it demands / requires you to do something now. And actually now, Bruce via Wiser Now says it's hard to imagine in a way that this is about over, but I do believe with the intel I have, I believe this should do it. We have people in Iraq that we talked to, and this blew my mind to find this out, that Iraq has been released from the sanctions that the Central Bank of Iraq was under, and they were still under sanctions. As a result, were not allowed to trade their currency openly until last week.